The interesting thing about this, he's still graded higher than Stephon Gilmore, yet we keep talking about Gilmore like he's going to come in and just be amazing. Cowboys collective here. There's been a lot of overreacting right now around Cowboys Nation. Every time we see a guy hold out of training camp, he automatically becomes a trade target for the Cowboys. I think a lot of this is due to the fact that it's just that spews for views kind of mentality where different networks just throw the Cowboys name out there just because they know it's going to get views. But we have to assess our own situation here. We're projected to be $26 million over the salary cap next year. We can just continue to restructure contracts and just kick that can down the line until we have to pay the piper eventually, but this is going to limit our flexibility to get involved in these trades. But I've seen a lot of speculating around a few different guys holding out. I'll just give my analysis and what I think will be the best approach. So the first guy on my list, Jamal Adams. Like, are we still doing this? Are we really still doing this? I know years ago we had the infatuation with trying to get Earl Thomas to the Dallas Cowboys after he came up to Jason Garrett at the end of the game and said, if you got a chance, come get me. Never happened. Shortly after that, you know, the infatuation with Jamal Adams, prying him from the Jets, trying to get him to the Cowboys. I think they checked in on him at 1 year's trade deadline, but the price just didn't match there. They didn't get him. And ultimately, the Seahawks ended up trading for the guy. And now that he's holding out because he still hasn't received that deal from the Seahawks, we somehow magically think that we're going to swoop in and get him again. Let's just put this one to rest, honestly. There's no way this is happening. There's no chance that the Seahawks are going to let him go anywhere. They gave up 2 first-round picks to get him. Jamal Adams has all the leverage in this situation. He's going to get his deal. Pete Carroll seems optimistic he's going to get his deal, and I think he has to get his deal. Otherwise, GM John Schneider looks like an absolute fool for giving up 2 first-rounders and not even be able to retain the guy. So let's just put that one to rest. This one's not even happening. I'm not even going to weigh, you know, the pros and cons about that one. Another guy on the list, Xavier Howard. This one's an interesting one. He's going into a holdout mentality after playing his first year into his 5-year, $75 million deal. He set the market just a couple years ago and now wants another contract after 1 year. I think the Dolphins are going to have to play this one carefully, right? Because they could set a precedent moving forward. Could he get traded? I think very likely he could get traded. We've seen the Dolphins go through this before, right? We've seen them give up guys like Laramie Tunsil, Minkah Fitzpatrick. It wouldn't be the first time they've done this. It's intriguing for me because the Dolphins were the team that swooped in and signed Byron Jones to a record-setting deal at the time, resetting the cornerback market, and now Xavier Howard is upset that not only is he the top-paid corner in the league, he's not even the top-paid corner on his team. So this has a chance to go south quickly. We're talking about a guy that led the league in interceptions with 10 last year. Pro Football Focus gave him an 89.6 grade in coverage last year too. So this guy's an absolute ball hawk, can get it done. I would love to add a guy like Xavier Howard to the Dallas Cowboys. You know, he'd be immediately our best player in the secondary. The only issue for me is the price is going to be steep. Yeah, it's just one of those situations that the reason he's holding out is because he wants more money. Yeah, we might even have less flexibility than the Dolphins to give him that money anyways. He's an intriguing name. I don't think it happens. The other piece of this is the price is going to be way too steep to get him. Can't imagine the price to even get in those conversations with when it comes to draft compensation. So I don't think this one happens as much as I would love to, you know, pry away Xavier Howard from the Dolphins. Another guy whose name I've seen thrown out there several times, Stephon Gilmore. You know, Stephon Gilmore was recently just the defensive player of the year in 2019. Obviously, he suffered that quad injury this past season. He dropped down to a 58.5 grading for his coverage, and he had a 61 overall grade for the season. This is a risky pick in my opinion. You know, he's getting to 31, just coming off that injury. He did decline last season. I get it, the injury played a part. We just don't know which Stephon Gilmore we're gonna get. Could he come in and be our best player in the secondary? Yes, and I think that is highly likely. It's just a risk. Does the compensation add up to that risk? You know, I was analyzing some articles. CBS put a good one out there stating that the asking price will likely likely be 2 day 2 picks. And the way they came up with that is they did a comparison to the Darius Slay trade, in which the Eagles traded a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick for him. So they're equating obviously Stephon Gilmore, being better than Darius Slay, being worthy of getting 2 day 2 picks. And that's a steep price to pay. Say we bring him in, we're gonna have to commit to that long-term deal or he's not gonna report to us. Same issues with cap flexibility, right? Could it work out for the Cowboys and could it be beneficial? Yes. I just don't know if this is a price that I'm willing to pay to bring in Stephon Gilmore. And the reason why I'm not really sold on any of these trade options is because Richard Sherman is still out there as a free agent, right? Yes, he's 33 years old. He's the oldest player I've mentioned in this video. However, he's familiar with Dan Quinn's system. He's gonna be a mentor, gonna be able to help these young guys that we brought in develop. We got Nahshon Wright coming out saying, I'm a younger, more athletic Richard Sherman. Well, what happens if we had Richard Sherman in the locker room with him to kind of help him get over those mental hurdles in the game? Like, it could pay dividends just having his leadership in the locker room. Our leaders currently in the locker room, they're quieter guys. I think having a guy like Richard Sherman who's vocal could really help this defense stand up and get back to where they need to be. Yes, he had a calf injury last year. He only played about 5 games. I think he played week 1, and then I want to say he returned from week 11 to week 14. Didn't really get anything going. Did his play decline? Yes. Pro Football Focus gave him a grade of 67.7. The interesting thing about this, he's still graded higher than Stephon Gilmore, yet we keep talking about Gilmore like he's gonna come in and just be amazing, and we're not giving any credibility to Richard Sherman. Even in Pro Football Focus's list of top cornerbacks for the year, Xavier Howard came in at 4, Gilmore at 6, but Sherman's not that far behind at 11. I think a lot of people have written him off. At the end of the day, we don't have to give up compensation to bring this guy in. We just have to agree to a deal given that he wants to come to Dallas. Richard Sherman is a more lucrative option at this point for what we need. The other side of things too is he helps alleviate the financial side of things, right? We get to work with him on the deal that he wants. He's also only a season out from where he was graded 90.2 by Pro Football Focus as one of the best corners in the league in 2019. So the drop off in production is pretty much equivalent to what Stephon Gilmore did, yet we're writing off Richard Sherman completely and giving Stephon Gilmore the benefit of the doubt without looking at the facts that they both had injuries. They were both in unideal situations. Patriots had a lot of opt-outs, I can admit that. Patrick Chung didn't report. Dante Hightower was out. But look at San Francisco and their injury situation. They had tons of injuries on the line. That wasn't really the San Fran team that we saw. They dropped off as a whole completely, right? Going from being in the Super Bowl to not even making the playoffs and having a top pick in the draft. The other reason I don't want to pursue these trade options is we could very well have a solution in-house. I think best case scenario for the Dallas Cowboys is that Kelvin Joseph is ready to take over that second cornerback spot. We might be giving up too early on the guys that we have in-house. We haven't even talked about the implications of the salary cap. By pursuing these guys, having to sign them to a record-setting deal, we have guys in-house that are leaving, right? Connor Williams is a free agent after this. Leighton Vander Esch is going to be a free agent after we didn't pick up the option. Michael Gallup's going to be a free agent, and I'm sure he's going to have a hell of a lot of interest. He's one of the more underrated players in the league, in my opinion, and I think he's going to have a lot of suitors come after him. Randy Gregory is going to be another guy that's going to be a free agent, and I think his value is going to be much higher than it has been previously. By pursuing these guys, we're actually limiting our ability to be able to hold on to the guys we have in-house already. So for all of this, if we do have to go the route of, bringing another veteran guy in for that second cornerback position, I honestly think we should pursue Richard Sherman before we even consider trade options. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you like to see us get in the sweepstakes for Xavier Howard or Stephon Gilmore? Or do you think we should go the free agency route and pursue a guy like Richard Sherman? In addition, what other free agents do you think we could pursue? Cowboys Collective out.